Hello knitters, Phelan from Shan's Knitting Studio in San Clemente, California. And today I have 2 classes and a tutorial, so stay tuned. Okay, first class is this Sunday 10 to 12, this Sunday 10 to 12 sweater class. So this is coming, you want to start a sweater, you're already working on your sweater, you're in a spot where you need help. This class is for you. Getting your sweater started correctly is the big point of this class. So you're bringing in your pattern, you're bringing in your swatch that's 30 stitches plus about 4 inches long, a knit a row, purl a row. And you're bringing in a garment that fits the way you want this garment that you're knitting to fit. So that's the 3 things you're bringing in if you're beginning your sweater. If you're not, if you're already into your sweater and you just need help, then we'll do that. We'll maybe have to try it on and all that kind of good stuff, because please try on as you go. It's only fabulous if you know for sure this thing's fitting correctly, then it's fun. If you think it's not fitting correctly in your head, you're going, I think it's too big. I think it's too little. You're not having any fun. So try it on. I know it's a pain, but try it on. It's everything. It is everything as you go. All right, so that class is this Sunday from 10 to 12. And then the other sweaters that we've been highlighting is this one, the Sabai, which is just a tank, shell, sleeveless top, however you want to call it. Super, super, super simple. This is a great beginning one. There are 2 versions. I think this is version, I don't know. This is the version without any ribs. So this is the version where you have, this rolls down a little bit. There's nothing here. These are staying pretty straight though, and so is the bottom. Well, no, the bottom has a small roll now. So, but it's just a little tiny roll on it. So that's the easiest version. The other version, you're going to be picking stitches up and making ribs. So you're picking up here, ribbing, you're ribbing down at the bottom. So it has the ribs along all the openings. So either one works. It doesn't matter which one. But this one, and we use the Junta, which is a linen cotton blend for this. And as I pointed out last week, there's lots of other yarns that you can use for this that we have that are plant fiber based, cottons, linens, blends, that kind of stuff. And then the other one that we did the month before is the Weekender. And I still have some sweater amounts because she was able to score some more of this. I still have sweater amounts of the Hanui, which again is one of the best yarns in here. We don't always have it. We're not always able to get it. But this is a merino silk blend. The sheep are from New Zealand, and it's all natural colors of groupings of sheep. And so this yarn is amazing. This sweater on is amazing. This is an amazing project. And so if you didn't get this started and you'd like to, that's another option for the sweater class. And then the other sweater I want to talk about is the Cancun top, which we've done many of. This is just, the simplest form of this is 2 rectangles. So it's just 2 rectangles, which you could do 2 straight rectangles, and it ends up being, you do it wider than you are, and then this ends up falling off your shoulder some, so it like caps your shoulder, because it is a boxy top. And then, so you could do it straight stitch, or you could do these stitches, which these stitches, there's nothing hard about these stitches. It just depends on whether you want to have to wear something underneath it or not. So that's the Cancun boxy top. So we can do that, the yarns I talked about last week. This is cotton tweed is perfect for this. It's soft, it's lovely. And I think I have like 3 or 4 colors. The Brittany, and I'll put up the other top that was out of this so you can see what this knits up like. This one would be so fun, because the one I'm going to show you is more like this. So it's real tone on tone, where this one has multiple colors in it. This would be really pretty. So this is a long striping yarn, so it doesn't stripe. You're not going to see stripes like this. The colors shift very slowly and just shift. So it's just a gradation that starts happening. So this would be really pretty too out of this, for this Cancun top. So there's another option for the sweater class this Sunday. And the next class coming up is June 8th, which is the second part of the shawl class. So the second part of the shawl class, the shawl, which we did start this last week, and I think everybody's gotten started at this point. But if you have not, if you've missed it and you still want to do this, And we have all these new pretty yarns to choose from now. And you do want to do this. It's not too late to do this. Just come to a workshop and I'll get you started, and then you'll get it. So the class is on the 8th, and it is a Sunday, and it's 10 to 12. That'll be the second class, but it's still time to start this. You've got plenty of time. You've got 5 weeks. Maybe it's 4 weeks. There's still plenty of time. So if you're on the fence about this but want to go ahead and do it, then you still have time to do it. So, and again, this is a 5 weeks, so the next sections are going to be this lace one. And then you've got the mosaic. Then you've got cable, back to some lace, and twisted rib. And there'll be 4 more classes. We've got 4 more classes to go. So, and this has got some bobbles in there in the first section. So you're not too late. You still can do it. And if you already started, then your next class is June 8th, Sunday from 10 to 12. Okay, so I'm going to do a tutorial on the long tail casting on the long tail method, which is the most common method, the go-to method, unless your pattern says something different. And starting it without a slip knot. I do not use slip knots anywhere in my knitting. I don't know, it's an old-fashioned rule, but technically there's no knots in knitting. That's the way the rule is. And I never started using slip knots. So you're going to have your tail, however long your tail is, and we'll talk about that later. But right now, you need a length of tail. And then I just make a loop, and I put my needle in there, and I put my finger there, and I hold it. And then you take these 2 fingers, so I'm grabbed onto both of these. Then you take these 2 fingers and you go from the inside out, and it looks like a slingshot. Okay, so I'll do that one more time. So I make a loop. I know how long my tail is. I make a loop. I go into the loop and I hold it with my index finger. Then I'm holding both of these. I go 2 fingers from the inside out, and my palm is up, so it looks like a slingshot. Okay, now the way you're going to go is you go all the way down and underneath, and you're actually going into this. This is actually a stitch. So you're going to go into this hole right here that your thumb is coming out of. So you go all the way underneath, then you're going to go around the top of this one. Now you're going to go right back through that same hole that your thumb is coming out of. And then the trick here, so you don't have to reset it every time, is you let go of your thumb. You don't move anything. Don't start pulling on it. Don't start doing this, nothing like that, because now you're going to have to reset it. So I'll get us there again, back in, all the way down, around the top, back through. Let go of your thumb, and you're going to put your thumb back underneath this side that you had it on already. And now you can pull. And you'll notice that this is off center, so all you do is move it a little bit and you're back to center, and you're not too loose. The trick is not to have to reset your hand all the time. So now again, you just go underneath into the hole that your thumb's in, over the top, back through the hole that your thumb is in. Don't move anything but your thumb, just let go of your thumb. And right next to the needle, you're going to set it back underneath the same thread that you had it on to start with. And again, you're a little off center, so you move it and you're off again. Now, if you don't have to reset everything, this can be done very quickly and efficiently if you're not doing that. So I'm going to go back up. I'm going to go up to speed now so you can sort of see what happens. So up to speed, this is what it looks like. So you're not having to you're not resetting all the time, and you have perfect tension. The other trick is to put your index finger goes in front of the top stitch. And when you put on the next stitch, you're actually going to keep the finger there, and you're making this tiny little space in between these 2 stitches. And actually the space is down here more than up here. And the reason you're doing that is the next row, the reason this can be too tight is the next row actually knits in between the stitches. The new stitches will sit in between these stitches. And so if these are really tight together, then it can make it tight to do the next one. And everything seems it can be a little bit too tight. So the solution to that is putting your finger in front of the stitch. And when you pull out, and I actually sort of pull this way even, so I'm away from it. Then it's the tiniest bit. It's like you really can't see it, but it's there, and it's enough to make a big difference in how tight and then that allows you to also pull on this to make this a little bit tighter. See this, no bueno. See how this right here, these are bigger? No bueno, no good. We don't want those, so I would take that out and redo those. So putting your finger in front of the stitches allows you to actually sort of tighten down this pretty good. You don't have to be, taut in the middle somewhere of tight and too loose. You can actually sort of tighten it down because you're giving the space where it needs to be given, which is in between the stitches, not the stitch itself. And then you can end up with a really nice edge. See how that's all equal now. See how that's all equal? And that's what you want. This is the edge of whatever you're casting on. This is your outside edge. You want this edge to look good. So now the other thing is if you've got more than 100 stitches, okay, so let's talk about that. So figuring out how long your tail needs to be. I've had somebody just come up with the idea of casting on half the stitches, which I guess if you're going to cast on 50, 60, 70, 80 stitches. Yeah, you cast on half the stitches, you take it out, and then where that started is how long your tail needs to be. So the way I don't do that many stitches, I do 10 stitches. So I cast on 10 stitches. You can see how nice and fast this is when you get it going. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so here's my 10 stitches. I still have a good tail. I'm going to take the stitches off right here at the base of where I just cast it on. Take them off. And keeping this spot right here, I'm going to pull them out. And now I know that's 10 stitches worth of yarn. Okay, that made 10 stitches. So now you only have to measure out half of your tail. Half of the stitches in your tail, because half of it goes from the ball, but half of it goes from the tail. So you're measuring out half. So let's say you're going to do 100 stitches. This is 10. You're going to measure out 50. So you're going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So here's 50. And then I always give it another little extra. Because the worst thing in the world is getting to 80 or 90 stitches and then not have enough yarn. I don't want you to see. Kill yourself, okay? And then you're on your way, all right? Now, if you're going over 100 stitches or 90 stitches or something, what you want to do is you can do this with the same skein. You get the other side of the tail from the other side of the skein. If you've got more than one skein of your yarn, you can do it from 2 separate skeins. But what you're going to do is you're going to join your yarn. Okay, so I'm going to leave a tail. I am going to make a slip knot. This is not going to count, and it's going to be taken off. But you do a slip knot to get these going. And now, so here's my loop, right? And I go from the inside out. And I can start going now. And I can do as many as I want because my tails will never end because they're both hooked onto a never-ending skein of yarn as far as casting on goes. All right, so I would just go until I'm done. I would use, if I've got that many stitches, I would be putting markers in every 20 or 25 stitches. And after I did like a bunch of stitches like this, I'd count, make sure I had 20. Oh, and right here, the first time I count, I will actually take off this so I don't forget to do that. And I don't count it. So this was my slip stitch. That's my slip stitch, and I'm gonna take that off. I don't need it now, and everything's fine, okay? So, and then I put in a marker. Do 25 stitches, put in a marker, do 25 stitches, but I can recount my 25, put in a marker. I don't have to recount those ever again. All right, so that's the biggest thing about, keeping track of counting your, even if you're doing 60, you could do 20 and 20 and 20. So you're not recounting, okay? Okay, now when you're done with this, you're all done, you're gonna pick the strand you don't wanna knit with. If you're doing both ends of a skein, you're going to do the inside one. It's not always a good idea to be pulling from the inside because you're actually twisting the yarn more. It's much better to pull it from the outside. So I would go to here and make sure it's the one that's going on my inside, and then I would cut it and cut it, leave a tail like that. And now you'll only have one working yarn again. Now, this does create more tails. You have 2 more tails than you would before, but in the long run, it is really nice not to have anything like having to deal with casting on again because you don't have enough yarn, or casting on again because you've got 2 yards long of yarn. You know what I mean? You don't want to waste yarn. You don't want to, yeah. So this is the most efficient way, and to do it with the least amount of yarn, wasted yarn, that you can do it. But you do have a couple extra tails to weave in, but it's worth it. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to talk about was using a swatch to learn how to do things. So just knitting, getting some yarn, any yarn, leftover yarns, whatever, put on 10 or 20 stitches, knit some rows, and then practice any new techniques you're doing, and most importantly, practice taking things out. So like if you've got, if you're learning how to do a yarn over, you can knit one, or something in your pattern that's a new technique. You can sit here and do it on the swatch before you do it on your pattern. That's a yarn over. You bring the yarn forward, and usually with the yarn over, because that's adding a stitch, you need to take away a stitch. So often you'll do a knit 2 together. So you could do a whole row of yarn forward, knit 2 together, yarn forward, knit 2 together, where you pick up 2 stitches, yarn forward. Yarn overs make holes on purpose. That's how we make a hole on purpose in knitting. Okay, and knit 2 together, and then I have 1 stitch left over, so I'm going to go ahead and just knit that. All right, now I'm going to knit back or purl back. I'm going to purl back, and that way you also get the idea of how what happens on the way back because of yarn over. So a regular stitch has a knot underneath it. A yarn over is just a piece of yarn that's laying, you see there's no knot, it's just laying on top of the needle. That's all it's doing. So it looks very strange, it's big, that's all right, that's the way it is. It's a yarn over, we're making a hole, and you just go ahead and purl it. But that way you can practice what that looks like. If you miss a yarn over, which can easily happen, and you know, oh, I was supposed to have a yarn over here, all you have to do is pick up this top ladder, and you put it on your needle, and now you've got your yarn over back. So if you've got a back row to something lacy that you're doing yarn overs, pay attention to where your yarn overs are supposed to be, because to be able to fix it on this row is such an easy thing to do that you need to make sure you can do it. So that, again, practicing that kind of thing on a swatch is pretty invaluable, because you're not worried about, making mistakes and stuff. It's okay to make mistakes and all that kind of stuff. So I would keep a swatch around, probably with 20 stitches, but swatch around. And then see, here's my yarn overs. You can see my yarn overs. And that's how lace happens. Knit happens, holes happen too, but sometimes holes happen on purpose. This is it. Okay, so keep a swatch around that you can pick up and learn how to take out, especially learn how to take out. And even something like this, I just did knit 2 togethers and yarn over. So how in the heck do I take that out? So there's this big yarn over. Well, that just go through there. There's a knit stitch. Okay, so you can see where the yarn's coming out, and take your time and really understand what's happening. And then I've got another yarn over. So I'm always, if I'm moving right to left, I'm always going from the back to the front. Now I have knit 2 togethers. Do I have a knit 2 together? Oh no, I purled. This is my purl row back. So there's no knit 2 together here. So I'm just taking out. So learn to, just practice taking out, people. The only way you learn to take out is by taking out. And so just practice it. Take a swatch and just practice taking things out. You also understand more of what's happening with your knitting. Once you start learning to take things out, that's when you start actually understanding what's going on when you're knitting and being able to understand what's happening. So taking out is really a value besides a skill set. Okay, so here I've got knit 2 together. So again, I'm still going into the stitch from the front to back, but what I need to make sure is that I got 2 stitches. So see, I've got 2 stitches on this needle here. So that's my knit 2 together. So I have the 2 stitches on there. So just make sure you got both stitches. And then when you take it out, so you've got your both stitches. And then there's your yarn over. So again, knit 2 together. So I'm just going into the stitch right there, going through it, making sure I've got 2 stitches here. And then I can take this one off, pull this out, and there are my 2 stitches. And that's the yarn over that's just laying over the needle. See, just taking that out alone, you learn so much. So get yourself a practice swatch. And, you know, before and make it short. It can be 10, 15 stitches. It doesn't have to be this long thing. And before you sit down to really knit, take a row out. Knit a row, take a row out. Purl a row, take a purl row out. You know, do a pattern row. Take that, see if you can figure out how to take that one out. So this is the time, like, this is the best way to figure this stuff out, is to actually just sit and do it. It's the only reason I'm so good at doing this is because I've been taking out knitting for like 20 years now, and I do more taking out of knitting than I do knitting. So I've got taking out, I get it. And you just start getting it, you know, and what's happening and stuff the more you take out. So there you go. A swatch for everything you need. Learn new things, learn to take out.